And here we are into Game 2 of TCC versus dnL, as Game 1 went in favor of dnL Esports, of course, and a pretty convincing 35-minute or so victory right there. Um, Basically just won the laning phase and took that into a nice end game, getting Pebbles, that portal key relatively early, and shutting down Ubergimp on that Papa Master pretty much completely, not letting the TCC side have any real ability to come back or carry or take that anything other than a loss. So, of course, dnL looking for a similar performance here, and that would knock out Team Cheesecake, as this is match number 2. Well, actually, so it would knock them out. It would knock them to the losers bracket. So this is match number 2. dnL looking to be the high seed from Group E, and will be able to do so with a series win here, and then a series win in the next match, which would be the winner's match. And that obviously would give them very strong positioning going into the group stages, where both BMG and Reason Gaming will join for a chance to go to Thailand and compete for a giant prize pool. Bans coming out here are Pestilence, Grinix, Kronos, and Rhapsody. So interesting that she's now worthy of that initial ban, apparently feeling that she's more dangerous than Ophelia, who is first picked by TCC. I can't say I completely disagree with that. I think Rhapsody is such a strong support hero right now, and she brings so much to the table when it comes to the stun, the dance floor, even the ultimate doing a lot to prevent damage there. That's preventing the opposing team from picking her up is definitely something that I would favor. I believe that's a really great path to take if you want to make sure that the other side isn't going to be able to take up what is really the strongest support in the game right now, I think. Other bans, Kronos interesting. Both Grinix and Pestilence, not that surprising. We see them banned out quite a bit. Kronos is an interesting ban, though, of course. We've seen Suicide Kronos a lot more often. I don't think dnL is really a team that has been really on that bandwagon so much, but Keizu, knowing how he plays, he is someone who likes those farming suicides. So he plays the suicide role very well, but he's not a guy that's like, okay, give me Grinix and I want to go jump around the map and gank a whole bunch. That's not really my playstyle. I want the Madman, I want the Scout, I want something that's going to be, or a Hag, for example, something that's going to be a farmer in the end, where I can do well in my suicide to begin with, but then recover with some farm. And certainly Kronos fits that label, so perhaps that's the thinking there from TCC side. Going into the picks then, Ophelia, Wretched Hag, and Moon Queen as... Sorry, I'm a bit of a cough right now. Moon Queen was banned out the first game by... I don't remember who banned it out, but it was banned in the initial stages, so of course not showing up in that game. And so far looking like a pretty strong lineup here from TCC. Strong push with Ophelia and Moon Queen, a little bit of Hag. Very strong team fight, of course, Numerous Blessing, defensive, but both the Bat Blast and the Moon Finale, is that, yeah, I believe that's what it's called. Look at that. I don't know, it's just the R button for Moon Queen, providing a lot of team fight damage, and of course the carry potential is definitely there with both Hag and Moon Queen. Certainly more than what the dnL side has right now, and it's pretty hard to imagine that dnL will end up with the stronger carry, considering the heroes that are showing up for TCC. Lacking a little bit of gank, I think, not too much burst damage, and of course they're looking for a support. But so as far as the initiator ganker role is concerned, they're a little lacking, and we'll I hope see something picked up to address that. Devour is available. Hey, look at that. And maybe even a Witch Slayer. That would help the gank, help the support. So we'll see how they choose to play it. Over here on the Hellborn side, Master of Arms, Parasite, and Tundra. As Tundra's making a bit of a comeback here. Not seen very often for a couple of months, and then all of a sudden he's getting picked up with some regularity. Of course, the Tundra Hawk always being a problem. I think the only reason that he fell off a bit is because he doesn't do anything hugely well. He ganks pretty well, he pushes pretty well, he initiates pretty well, and he's got a little bit of late game potential, but he's not a carry, he's not a ganker, he's not really a hard pusher, he's not the greatest initiation, because even though he has the Avalanche, it's basically single target, and the Piercing Shards plus the Avalanche isn't really enough to kill anything. So he will help out in a variety of roles, but he's not going to really do anything extremely well. So it's one of those heroes really where you're looking for him to be useful. He's a utility player more than anything else. He's not really a difference maker in any one particular phase of the game, but he helps out in everything. Picks are finished off here, but let's do the bans first. Pebbles, Bubbles, and Kraken banned out here by TCC, taking out those mid heroes, those initiators, which is a little interesting because I would assume Tundra would be the mid here. Bubbles, of course, potentially a suicide, as is Kraken. Pebbles not so much, but he could be running that short lane. So reducing a little bit of the suicide there for the Hellborn side, as it's interesting because TCC has that Hag, which is potentially a suicide with the Pharaoh pickup. It looks like that'll probably be a suicide Pharaoh, and I think I like that decision. A little interesting bans there for the Legion side. I would suspect you'd go for more of the short lane bans, just because you know you have your short laner and Moon Queen, and they don't. I mean, you can short lane that Tundra if you want to. You can short lane Master of Arms, but none of those are going to be as powerful as Sandwraith, Gemini, Corrupted Disciple, something like that. So perhaps targeting a little more carries might be a little bit better for them, but certainly understand why they made the bans they did. Gauntlet, Meraxes, and Torture taken out by Flensmeister, as I think Master is going to be the support here. So they already have their support, banning out the Torture, so the Legion side is a little less able to pick up whatever they want. It's going to be the Gemini in the end, so that's the short laner there for Denial. And of course, Gauntlet and Meraxes, both strong initiators, both solid tanks, and that's really what this Legion side is missing. So good bans there. They wanted somebody that could start a fight and could take some damage, and that certainly is both of those heroes. So certainly very strong bans here from Flensmeister. And the Legion side will finish off with Pharaoh and Engie, as we've seen Engie come back a little bit recently. And certainly a very powerful support still. Does well with these heroes as well, keeping everybody locked down so the Bat Blast can hit a bunch of people, the Moon Finale can hit a bunch of people. And this Legion side will do very, very well in team fights, certainly better than the Hellborn side, as they definitely have the team fight advantage. Pharaoh, of course, a little bit more of a ganker and a strong initiator, so fulfills that role. Where, excuse me. I believe we are going to see him in that suicide role, as with the Jungle Parasite, it's probably not going to be a dual lane top, but very possible. And I wonder if that's the best, because he is going to need to jump into the middle of those fights and start them for the Legion side, so if he does not have items and stuff to keep himself a little bit tanky, have a little bit of mana, then he could end up in a bit of a sticky situation. So yeah, they are going to send him middle, and they'll send the Suicide Hag top, and I like that a little bit better just because I think Pharaoh is going to need some more farm than that Suicide role would afford him. Last two picks on Hellborn are Gemini and Drunken Master. So I'm thinking this is going to be a DM Suicide here, and that's fine. He's not going to do too well against what looks like a Moon Queen and Engineer bot lane, which is very strong, solid dual lane. And it will basically mostly force the DM out of lane because he does decently in the Suicide role, but he's not really going to be able to stand up to that combo. Moon Queen should have free farm down here. There's a Hellborn gang squad coming in, but they're going to get spotted by that rocket. And of course the Ward of Sight that went down very early. So they won't get anything here. They will block a camp, so Ophelia's going to have some issues dealing with that. They actually double block it, so they won't be able to counter that with just one ward. And then this camp is going to be prevented from spawning for quite a while. So I'm thinking the Suicide DM, but it looks like he's actually heading mid, and Tundra's going to be Suicide bot. And considering Cage is down that hero, I probably should have seen that coming. So instead it is going to be Brodux solo mid, probably up against this Pharaoh. Master is going to be supporting Gemini up top, and as a result, Hag should be mostly okay in farm, but probably won't get too much. Should be not quite as much free farm for Gemini as it is for Moon Queen on bottom lane, because Tundra basically, with no escape mechanism and no real slow or stun here, he's going to have to be extremely careful using that Hawk, I assume, for vision and making sure that nobody can sneak up on him. So he's scouting out Ophelia a bit here. But he should get harassed out by Engineer pretty much constantly. And Ubergrimp on this Moon Queen should have essentially total free farm. So hopefully that's what we'll see from the Legion side, as that's basically what they need to make happen here. There's no reason... I mean, I'm not really a fan of this Tundra Suicide here, because he doesn't seem like a typical Suicide hero. He's... if he lives, that's great. But he has no escape, he's not super fast. And he's a melee, so he can't trade harass with the support. And he doesn't have a stun or slow, so it's not like if he gets into trouble, he's gonna be in a lot of trouble. Now, Ophelia's camps are very blocked here. So, is that Hawk actually blocking it? I think it is. And Oaf's like, what the hell is this crap? And she has some pretty terrible spawns here. 2 Wild Hunters and a Wolf Commander. And that's the problem with Ophelia, really, is if you get favorable spawns, she's a fantastic hero. If you don't get favorable spawns, she does nothing. So there's some RNG factor going in there, and you know you can tilt that in your favor by stacking stuff and making sure your creeps don't die if you get good creeps. But to some extent, it is about how things happen in terms of the random spawns. So apparently that Hawk does block this camp, which I think is a little broken. I didn't know that. I don't think either of those wards are doing it. And Ophelia is finally just like, I need something. Get some Minotaur here after the camp stack. But 2 level 1s on the Legion side in Oaf and Engineer, and that's a bit of an issue. 2 level 1s in the Hellborn as well, with Keizu and Support both being 1. But Support's farming this pole right here, so he's going to hit 2, possibly even 3, relatively soon. And Keizu has decent experience per minute. Ophelia has 0 experience per minute. So, Tundra down here, just looking to stay alive. Up top, Gemini doing pretty well, 330 GPM, and Hag is sort of being forced out. Is over here by the pole, looking to trade some attacks with this Master, but perhaps threatened by the Twin Fangs, will just blink over the cliff. As Gemini goes back up here to farm the wave. So in terms of the farm right here, Gemini, DM, and almost Parasite out farming this Moon Queen, which makes no sense to me because she should basically have total free farm here. And DM absolutely shouldn't. So, Brodek's 5 level here, winning his lane pretty damn hard. He's not the top farmer in the game. And I don't understand why that's happening. Like, Pharaoh should be able to do a decent job, at least, of zoning out this Drunken Master. But instead, it looks like Brodex is just wrecking this lane up top. Master runs and Hag going to go at it for a bit. I don't think either will fall. Twin Fangs coming here from Gemini. There's Charge Shot and Twin Fangs, and there goes Hag. A little bit too greedy. The Charge Shot, Fort Lightning, Twin Fangs come in, and she just gets destroyed. Meanwhile, in mid, Brodex will take out Pharaoh. As Pharaoh will trap him, but he's inside the tower range. That's painful. Support dying to neutrals there. Easy TP back to base as he had bought out. And Rune up here will spawn it is Invis. So, man, if Hag had that, she would have been very happy, but instead it is going to be bottled up by Drunken Master here. And he could possibly turn that into another kill as Tundra is down here looking for something. Gonna need a Tormented Soul there, but we'll take the Invis, and the bottle rune is Master's now coming in here, and this is going to be a dead Pharaoh right there. There's a Charge Shot, once again in tower range, piercing shards going out, and here comes Parasite even, looking for the Skeleton King that will find it, and Pharaoh's just like, really? Really, guys? Gonna bring 4. But nonetheless, Hellborn do clean up the kill, 3-0 now, and a pretty substantial lead, 2.8k in both gold and experience. As for some reason, Moon Queen's still at 300 gold per minute. I mean, Gemini's basically been up here free farming. He get the Bloodlust, so that's nice. But that is not responsible for 430 gold per minute. He's got 31 and 12 CS, 27 and 25 from Moon Queen, so like that's fine, but he shouldn't be missing any CS. Not only was Tundra boxed out of lane completely, he is now left, like, you know, it's not like he was doing anything to test the lane, and then he just left the lane. So MQ's just been here completely free farming, and 310 GPM seems a little low for that. More concerning is the rest of her team. Ophelia at 130. Terrible farm. Awful spawns. So much blocking going on here with the Hellborn side, preventing anything from spawning. Pharaoh has died twice now at 170 GPM. And both the supports in Engineer, and the top laner in Wretched Hag, who also has died, under 100 GPM. So this isn't just about strong farm on the Hellborn side, and there certainly is with 3 heroes over 300 gold per minute. Nobody on the Legion side except for Moon Queen is having any kind of game whatsoever. And as powerful as Moon Queen is, she takes a while to get going. This is a Hellborn team that has some substantial early mid-game aggression. Parasite, Tundra, even Master of Arms, Drunken Master. they will do a lot of damage before they get going. Actually, Gemini has a fair bit of potential to do that as well. And MQ, especially without any team support, and right now she has none, is not going to be a happy camper. In mid, once again, Engineer falling, as here comes Parasite. Jump onto him, and this is just going to be a massive kill. Facehog and Leech. Now, Pharaoh traps both on top of the turret, but they're both eating this Hellfire because there's two of them, so it's easier to deal with. Leech is going to come out in a second. And there's a stagger onto Pharaoh. He's going to die here. There's no question about that. Eats at the trees, tries to get it, but one more auto attack, and he's dead. Nice Mummy Walls, but the Leech, nonetheless, is enough to finish him off. So, well played there from the Hellborn side. Picking up a couple of kills. Top tower, meanwhile. Gemini's taking some damage from it, trying to keep this cannon alive. But it's going to hurt a lot, and now he's going to come in, do some more damage here. Twin Fangs onto Wretched Hag there, plus the split up. Actually, she just does get the blink away, so she'll be alright. Pick that up. On bottom, Keizu falling. I'm just missing everything in this game. And she takes the Moonbeam plus the ultimate, and yeah, I was waiting for that to happen. I really, it's like level 6 Moon Queen, level 2 Keizu. It's like, yeah, that's probably what's going to happen. Gemini going to recombine as Pharaoh looking for a jump here, but where's the Twin Fangs? There it is. Hook, there it is. There we go. So now Gemini's in some trouble here and should look to die. Oh my god, he's fast. The Hellfire stuns are doing a lot, and he has a bottle, not going to be enough. It's a nice pick there on the Flens. And finally something going for the Legion side here as they pick up a couple of kills. Tundra going to get boxed out and popped, though, by Uber Gimp, so Funzmeister slowed down a little bit as he is ganked. But still, this Hellborn side doing very well. 330 plus on 3 heroes, and Moon Queen at 350. But Pharaoh's got 200 gold per minute, man. It's just barely above the Master of Arms. And Keizu has essentially nothing. But this won't matter too much as just the rest of his team is going to create so much space for him. And they're going to get a lot of pickoffs here, I'm suspecting, in the mid-game. So I think he'll be a part of quite a number of those kills. DD Rune here on Drunken, looking for a kill onto nice jump. It just jumps inside of the walls. Hellfire goes down, and now DM could be in some trouble. There's a Minotaur Stomp. Does actually hit. Pharaoh will get away. Throws the rocket out first, though, and DM's going to be fine. Just a little too janky. But good support there from the Legion side, preventing Pharaoh from dying once again. As it's possible the Hellfire would have kept up and prevented the auto attacks from Drunken Master, but one more stagger and a lunge, I think, and he was dead, and I think DM certainly would have had both of those available relatively soon. Top tower here going to be significantly pressured. Glyph goes out, and I think Gemini's going to look for the Hag's going to look for the deny here. As a port comes in, and this tower should be denied. Pharaoh's here. Meanwhile, in mid, NG getting picked off. There's the Facehug Leech combination plus Drunken Master's like, hello. And his top tower is denied, so. I'm missing a lot of stuff this game for some reason. Not on point with the camera work, but that's why we have the rewind. So, Denial here taking a pretty massive lead. 5k gold, 5k experience, we're not even 10 minutes into this game yet, and they're substantially ahead. You look at the lanes, basically, they were both the top and the mid lanes, plus the jungle, were won by the Hellborn. As looking at the GPM charts, you can see Gemini, DM, and Parasite all way up there. Moon Queen, of course, right up there with him, as she did dominate that bot lane. But the rest of her team they didn't just lose either. Like, there's I won this lane, I won this lane. It also matters how hard you win and how hard you lose. And looking at these GPM charts, there's no question. Pharaoh lost mid. Hard. Wretched Hag lost top. Hard. Ophelia's losing the jungle. Hard. I mean, that's 150 GPM versus 350, 340 really on Parasite. Parasite's more than double Ophelia's worth right now. So, he's level 4. It's still only 1 creep. I mean, usually by this time you're going to see some Ophelia pushing. Because you're like, oh, I'm level 7, I got a couple of creeps, I've got a Moon Queen on my side, let's take down a tower, let's take down 2 towers. I'm Ophelia, this is what I do. I gank heavy, I push a lot. Of course, Tundra leaving the lane so early didn't help. But Ophelia is supposed to be one of the more active junglers, and now she's going to get found here by DM, who's hasted, and she's just going to die. Of course, Vulture Lord not going to help with anything, and DM's just like, I've got haste, man. What are you going to do? There goes a Minotaur. That would have been very helpful. But Oaf will not be alive to see it. As over here in the middle, DM looking for a jump face hug and a leech onto, as there goes Parasite. Nice hook back in by Pharaoh, but not going to be enough. Stagger going to finish him off. So bot tower being pretty heavily pressured here by the Legion side. And they should get it within the next creep wave. Assuming Hellborn put up no defense here, and they will have a port in, so they're looking for at least a deny here. 2 actually, as the back tower goes up. Tundra's level 5, looking for something. There's a Moonbeam on top of him. Support here is on this Master. Glyph of Fortification goes out, and that's going to be enough to back them the hell out off the tower. Plus with the... that, and there goes the nice deny. So, Hellborn managed to deny that bot tower, and that is 2 towers dead, 2 towers denied in total. Regen going to get popped here as Master's throwing out a random bomb just to finish off the bottle before he bottles up that regen. And, I mean, I will say, I think the late game still belongs to Legion here. As valuable as, I mean, Gemini is amazing. He's annoying as hell to deal with. He's annoying as hell to kill, and Flensmeister's a very good gem player, so I'm not discounting him by any means, as it looks like Brodex is looking for a jump here. Stomp there on Parasite. He's inside the pumpy walls, actually gets out of it and kills that engineer in a second. Moon Queen here will drop the Moon Finale, but nobody close enough to get hit by it. There now, support will be evaporated. So right now it's a 1-for-1, and Brodex usually just supports that. He doesn't want any more of that engagement with the entire Legion team here. Looks like they're sort of looking for him still, as instead Gemini would be pushing this top tower. Not going to get it all that low, but it is reasonably endangered. So anyway, I think the late game is still here for the Hellborn, but as Gemini could be in some trouble there. Mummy Walls actually don't catch Gemini, and so he'll be fine as a result. Ophelia got a couple of Minotaurs here, so finally some good spawns for her. And she should be able to grab some levels with those. Skeleton King as well. So that's the perfect combination, of course. She wants to not kill that Skeleton King. She wants to finish it off as a controlled creep. Just looking not to get jumped by this Drunken Master. And anyway, like I was saying, up top, Hag in some trouble. There's a Wild Hunter. There's the Face Hug Leech on top of Twin Fangs, and just death. Just death. So Legion do have a late game here. I do believe that, but the only thing that has to be concerning is they're not going to be that much better in the late game as Master of Arms is. Pressing his luck here. Pharaoh wants to jump, but I think with the 2 of them, actually he will go in there and tries to deny. Does not get it. Port coming in here from the Legion side as well, though. And in the back, meanwhile, Gemini doing some stuff to try to take down this engineer. He will split up, and this is going to be a dead NG. Over here, in the meantime, Newer's Blessing coming out. Not going to be enough to save engineer, of course, but Moon Queen is still alive, just barely. She needs to get the hell out of there, as Pharaoh actually does as well. Nice Panzer Armor on Master, and that will help Drunken finish off that Pharaoh. Now Ophelia is going to die as well, with his lap getting the last hit. So 3 for nothing exchange there. They will also clean up these Ophelia minions, as the Hellborn take a tower and a few creep kills. Or sorry, hero kills. So I think, you know, the issue with getting the late game, of course, with the Legion is there's so much mid-game presence here for Hellborn, and even if they do get to the late game, they have to be substantially ahead. Because Gemini, Drunken Master, Tundra, and, you know, Parasite, there's not nothing there. There is some pretty serious late game then as well for the Hellborn, so even if they manage to make it to 45, 50 minutes, an hour, As we're going to see the jump up here. Gemini and Drunken. Moon Family goes off, and Drunken actually not going to eat the Moonbeam thanks to his ultimate. And MQ just going to get the hell out of there as Parasite takes over the bird. So we missed that. We forgot about that combo too. Parasite bird. So he stopped the ultimate, and I was like, what the hell happened there? Face-up combo there. Onto Engineer. Will he die? He tries to get ported back. Not going to be enough. As the Codex just came out at the last second. Now Parasite's in a ton of trouble, actually. Mummy was caught there, so he's dead. Back blast enough to finish him up. Gemini looking for a pick here. He's in a little bit of trouble, actually. He will fall, so Funspeister getting a little too greedy. A little bit of throw there. DM now, just getting crazy. Destroys the Ophelia. As he has the Soul's Bulwark already, and that's a lot of negative armor and physical damage coming out from him. So anyway, I mean, Legion can take this. If they can take this game to 2 hours, they'll win. If this maybe an hour and a half, but like even if they only get to an hour, I still think Hellborn's going to win because they've built themselves such a lead here, and they have enough late game that the lead they've got is going to make them scale better than the Legion side will. So they're going to end up having this game, I think, up until like the hour and a half, at least the hour and a half mark, something like that. Because, as Zlap actually bought out for some reason. You know, because they've got a Gemini here on the Hellborn, and they've got 2 strong right-click carries in both Hag and Moon Queen, but Hag's 167 GPM, and she's item-dependent. Moon Queen's item-dependent, and she's at 360 GPM. Right now, she should be at 450. With a good start, that's what she should be at. And if she's not even close, look, Brodix is at 450, and he's had a dominating streak, so he's doing very well. But Gemini is at 410. He's died a couple of times. 322 for Gemini, 414 gold per minute. Doesn't farm nearly as well. Is actually slapping it out once again. So Greedy is lapped. And now Tundra's going to be in some trouble here. Eats the Moonbeam, and he's just going to die. Sono Scream is there. Tries to put the piercing charge. There goes the Mummy Wall, chopping everybody, and he's going to die. So a couple of good picks there, as top tower also falls in favor of the Hellborn. And it just feels like this game's already over, and 13k gold, 10k experience. Plus it's denial, like it's not this isn't some scrub team that's gonna throw. Like they know what they're doing. These are all experienced professional players. They've all been on several teams. They've all been playing this game at a competitive level for a number of years now. This is not their first rodeo. They know exactly how to take this lead that they've got. They know they've got one. I mean, they're getting a little reckless, really. So they know how far ahead they are. It's going to be hard for them to take this and throw it away. It's always possible. Throws are always possible. I just think at this point it's going to be very difficult for them to lose. There's too much Fire One Flens and Brodex to do. I mean, and even Parasite there. And he's got so many people to kill. Really, everybody except for this Pharaoh is an instant kill. Even Moon Queen, she's under Agi Shreds right now, so if she's on Strength, it might be a little bit harder. But Parasite shouldn't have any problems right now killing anybody on the Legion side. Hag on Strength Threads has 1,000 health. Engineer has 700. Jump in here as Grind Boss falls immediately to Zlap. But both of these heroes are going to be Panzer coming out, and Zlap will die anyway. Now Drunken just barely going to get away as a couple of ports come in here. So there's a trade of Ophelia for Parasite here, certainly in favor of the Legion side, as now support trying to lit. He's going to have the, he's got the Fork Lightning, and now they're actually in some trouble, as where's the charge shot? There it is. Twin Fangs does not hit, but the Fork Lightning and Twin Breath is enough, and now Pharaoh's dead. There it is. So a trade and then actually a pick after that, and just putting that fight probably a little bit in favor of the Hellborn side. And they're going to turn this into a bot tower push, I think. At least Tundra is going to try to do something to this lane.
Well, it's a start.
So what can Legion do at this point to come back? DDoS. I think outside of that, maybe nothing. I guess really what they really could do is train. Because the one thing that the Hellborn don't have too much of are AoE ults. I mean, they have none, really. It's single target on Parasite, single target on Tundra. Technically, Gemini's ult gives him a couple of stuns. Could be 2 targets, but each stun is single target. His ult's not really a team fight ult anyway. And Drunken Master is a team fight ultimate, but it's a defensive one instead of an offensive one, so that will still help a lot, of course. His Parasite's going to be up here trying to pick onto this hag. Won't quite happen. Newest pressing comes out. Pharaoh jumping in here, but nice and fast, and he will be able to run away inside that archer. So Zlapt getting really, really aggressive here and not paying for it quite yet. Anyway, so the Leech side, though, they've got the Norse Blessing, they've got the Moon Finale, they have the Engineer Field, Hag's Bat Blast. Pharaoh's Initiation is not really a team fight thing, more of a gank pick-off type move, but it still does do pretty well in team fights. So, at this point, it seems kind of silly, because they're just going to get picked off by these Hellborn heroes. They've got extra vision because of that Hawk. They have strong jump potential. Moon Finale going to go off, but not going to hit. Actually going to hit the creeps. As Gemini just runs away because he's so damn fast. Parasite coming in here for a bit of backup, but Gemini's broken. So I really feel like they're in the position right now where they need to group up and take some towers. You know, Ophelia push, Moon Queen, Hag, it's all relatively strong. And their team fight is certainly off the charts when it comes to damage. And some lockdown as well. And some defense. Bot tower, meanwhile, going to get pushed in pretty heavily by Tundra. And then, of course, you know, on this Hellboard side, there's gankers everywhere. Parasite, Tundra, even DM. So being by yourself is an invitation to get picked off. Plus with the Hawk and the wards coming out here from support, it's not like you're ever going to be, or you're rarely going to be in a position where you're like, I know nobody's watching me. So, I mean, I understand the split up farm. We want to get the farm on our carries. We want to make sure that we can move into the late game. But you're not going to have a late game at this rate. So it's a nice thought to be just like, oh yeah, we have heroes that need farm, and you should group up, as Congore's being attempted here by the Hellborn side, and they'll get it relatively easily. There's a ward down here, but that's not going to spot too much. And of course, Legion have a ward over there, Hellborn ward there and there, so if Legion try to counter this whatsoever, they will be stopped. And it just feels like, I don't know why they're not grouping and pushing here, because that seems like the only option available to them. They could try to run like a 4 or 5 man gang squad and pick people off, but Hellborn are doing a pretty solid job of staying together, keeping each other up. Master Farm's ult is going to be very helpful in that regard, and of course they're all relatively difficult to kill. Tundra and support are probably the easiest, but now Tundra has a portal key, so that's not going to make things any easier. DM has staggered, he's naturally tanky. Gemini has an escape mechanism, and he's reasonably fast. He's not that tanky, but he's pretty tanky, 1600 health. Parasite, of course, has infast, as now Avalanche and everything dropped here onto Moon Queen. We'll take the newest blessing, but not nearly enough as Flensmeister picks the last hit. So Uber Gimp here gets wrecked by 3 heroes from the Hellborn side, basically taking her out before she could do anything. And Ophelia heal was a little helpful, but basically just made her live for about half a second longer than she normally would have. Thunderhawk will get scouted by that tower, but won't actually get killed. In mid, Hag gonna blink away, but still a hasty Master of Arms here, and now her blink's on cooldown, so DM's gonna be like, hello, gotcha. Wrath of the Pharaoh coming in, will hit a bunch. Skeleton King on him though, now he's in some trouble, and he'll take a bunch of damage, and there's the Leech to finish him off. Bronix will kill the last hit. Ophelia gonna take the Codex and gonna die to Flensmeister's auto attack. Shrunken Head up for him. He's looking for a Twin Fangs initiation onto NG, won't find it. And mid tower goes down as well. So 4 heroes picked off here, and just Engineer left alive. Hellborn, of course, still have that token, and they take down the mid tower. Only 1 tower remaining here is this bot secondary. And I don't see it here for the Legion side. I haven't for about 10 minutes now, maybe 15. It's just, they didn't win their lanes, and we've been seeing a lot of this lately, actually. And you know, TCC did this to some of their opponents as well, where they basically just won their lanes and played extremely safe. And they found picks where they could. And it's not to say that Hellborn's been playing that safe. Slapped in particular has dove quite a lot here. But the important heroes, Flensmeister not diving. He made one dive here over by the Legion Ancients and paid for it. Other than that, he's played extremely safe. As a result, 500 GPM. Brodex is always taking engagements with allies. He never ever does it, by himself. He's not jumping into a place where he doesn't have vision on his own and get picked off. He's just that careful about it as Ophelia DCs and reconnects. Same thing with KZ. He hasn't had that much kill involvement. 1, 2, and 4. He's not exactly at 21 kills here. He's been on 5. It's not exactly the highest number, of course. He's been a little under-leveled, under-farmed for most of this game. 271 GPM now, so he's doing pretty well, but not the greatest. So, I mean, I think this is sort of what we've been seeing a lot more of lately is let's just play safe. Let's not get crazy. Let's not take a lot of team fights, especially when we don't have that many team fight ults and the opposing team does. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know how many times as jump in here once again, but it's just destroyed. So Ophelia gets wrecked. It dies in about less than a second. I mean, that's like half a quarter of a second right there. MQ needs to be a little careful here. We'll probably go to the side and buy a port. Parasite's looking for her, but won't find her. In fact, just skirts from the edge of the jungle, and now I'm going to walk home instead. Hellborn grouping up bot with 4 heroes. Lap actually heading home, and so is Brodex, so this is not going to be a push. Drunken has finished his Shrunken Head, and that makes 2 on the Hellborn side, with Gemini having his as well. Parasite sitting on a Codex level 3, and there's level 4. So he's able to pick off anybody he wants at this point, and possibly including Pharaoh. Pharaoh's pretty tanky, actually. So it'd take probably take a little bit of help to kill him. Master has the push book on top, sea boots, and bottle. Is that his bottle or somebody else's? I think it's somebody else's. It's Brodex's, but Brodex doesn't have room for it. He's like, here, support, have it. And he says, thank you very much. I'm very happy to have it. Meanwhile, Tundra has that push book now. Abyssal Skull as well on top of the Lex Talionis. It's worth noting there's 4 melee heroes on the Hellborn side. I didn't really notice that before. That Abyssal Skull is going to do a lot of work in these team fights. With the lifesteal add, of course, on melee heroes, it's going to be very helpful for them. DD Gemini, dead tower. And this is going to be a bot push here. Zlapt is up here, hanging around in their own woods, but Hellborn, for good reason, feeling confident about this. Gemini's token probably about to wear off. 1.5 minutes.
The Legion have destroyed
Legion got a couple of kills on towers here. As MQ gonna destroy Parasite right there, seeing him coming with the Word of Sight, of course. Drops the Moon Valley and he gets wrecked. And it's possible Hellborn aren't interested in fighting this. I think Gemini should just be up there and take it. Like, he's got a minute left on this token. Just get in the front. Kill that tower, buddy. Deny instead. Seriously, if you just go sit on the racks, like, they have to kill you. You can kill it in less than a minute.
Beasts of the land, hark my call.
Twin Fangs in, actually not going to hit anybody. Gemini are split up with Geometer's Bane. Nice avalanche stone then. Energy field hits everybody. Bat blasted on a couple, and now the Hellborn are doing pretty badly. Casey's going to fall right off the bat. Drunken Master's running away. Flensmeister is here looking to survive, actually, and he will lose a token, but he takes out Uber first. Hag in the background going to get taken out by Brodex, and despite a really great engineer ultimate there, dropped and just did a bunch of damage to everybody as they all sat inside it. Brodex going to get the hell out of there with Torment still hitting him, and Hag actually buying back. So is Moon Queen as well, so buybacks here on Legion's side will back Hellborn off, as they're content to take a couple of kills and lose Tundra as a token, as well as grab the tower on bot, but they didn't really get it as a result of that fight. They had it beforehand. No picks can be found here on the Hellborn side as Legion's looking for something. Tundra Hawk going to get taken out. Actually, Funspicer backing here onto Moon Queen will pop the Geometer's Bane, and now Drunken is in a ton of trouble. Does barely fall to Uber Gimp here. Now support. Oh god, that neutral Minotaur's done doing so much. Wrath of the Pharaoh in there for Pharaoh as he wants the kill and support. Just barely going to get it with a Night Torrent from Hag. Funspicer trying to get the hell out of there at this point. And he is so damn fast. Tormented Soul hitting both Parasite and Gemini. Hag jumping in here will see the Tundra Hawk coming in to save him. And as a result, he has flying powers. Uber Gimp going to get ulted there on top of Swift Bangs and just destroyed. Moon Queen goes down. So does Squiz here on that Pharaoh as he tries to do something to save anybody. Poured out from Engine here will be successful. So another pick on the Moon Queen there. And despite losing both Master and Drunken Master, Master Arms, Drunken Master, too many Masters. Funspicer now feeling like, they don't have Moon Queen. Let's go push bot. Moon Queen does have another buyback. But that would be her final one. And she does choose to buy out here, so no more buybacks left on Moon Queen. They see that on Hellborn, they're like, alright, let's leave. Moon Finale is available. And so Legion does get Hellborn to back off. Actually, sort of. Parasite looking for a pick here in that Tundra Bird. Just flying. He can fly. Moon Queen fake, not going to warrant the combo from Parasite. As he has finished off that Codex 5 now. Invis Gemini heading bot. Perhaps looking for a kill, but a Word of Rev is right there on top of a Word of Sight, so if he runs by that, he'd be in trouble. Nope, gonna find Engineer here and we'll wreck him in the face. And this is once again looking like a push-up here by the Hellborn side, as Parasite has finished his Codex, still running around here in that Shiver. Moon Finale going out, and actually Gemini has pops the Shrunken Head. He'll be fine. All sorts of stuff inside the Mummy Roll is happening as Uber Gimp on that Moon Queen falls very quickly. Parasite putting everything down onto Pharaoh, and he will die. As Hag's now looking to survive, won't do so, I don't think so, as Brodex takes her out. And that's going to be a GG vote. So, well played there to dnL, very much so, as they take this series 2-0 in some pretty convincing wins. They were never really in a lot of danger of losing either of these games. They won the laning phase pretty damn hard both times, and then just played it safe, pressed their advantage, continued to outfarm their opponents, and just got to the point where the Legion couldn't do anything about it, or in this game Legion, TCC in general couldn't do anything about it, and just sort of took their wins instead of trying to throw. So no throws here, and that will be a 2-0 series victory for dnL, who will move on to the winners match in Group E. Now TCC knocked down to the losers match, and going to have to not drop any more series in this if they want to stay alive in this Season 2 of HoN Tour playoffs. So that's it for the series, and we'll see you for the next